Welcome back, everybody. So, last time we put together this little calculation to set up our grid, and I went down here and I removed the stuff that subtracted it to put it into the center of the screen because it wasn't really working all that well because I did it wrong. I'm going to figure out a way to, do that properly. But I went into here. I went in here and I did up the draw function so that it works. It works the same way as the stuff in the gameplay screen works. I set up on entry so that it prepares the grid. I also set up updates so that our player gets updated and mgame, and I had the same thing where you got to make sure iMainGame is included for mgame to work. And I think in check input, yeah, you have to put mgame on SDL event in there because it's not in there by default because that's the gameplay, not the main game, which is what I copied this from. And now you get to look upon my good work, So we go into Shipbuilder and ta-da! Here is a little screenshot of all the areas that the that the ship encompasses, and I can move because movement is part of the package. One of this, so that is a I think it's a 6 by 6 by 6 by 6 because I currently have it set to the default ship. So if I go into ship.h, oh yeah, 24 6 by 6, but we could change this to anything. We could change this to like 1 and then I don't know, 30 and then 4 and then 78. And then do it, and we will have a completely different little screen there in Shipbuilder. Boop. Oh, apparently we won't. Maybe it didn't do it properly. Let's go ahead and rebuild. And then do it. See if that did it. If it didn't, then we have a little error that we have to handle. Waiting for things to compile. Waiting for compilation is really the longest thing that programmers have to do. Okay. Succeeded. Shipbuilder. And here we are. Okay. Okay, that's probably completely incorrect. Delightful. Well, let's see what happens. Oh, wait. It's because 1. We can't have anything with 1. Let's go 5. And I think the stats aren't allowed to be 1 because that would just turn it into a line. I think it's still a line. Have to rebuild. I won't make you guys sit through this one. Okay, so I think we have maybe a little problem here. Because that goes in at a very steep angle, and then it goes down very sharply. But really, these two should be connected, even if it's very small. Let's get something that's closer to, an ideal. So, let's go with 30 on this one. No, let's go 45. And for this one, let's go 23. And for this one, let's go 34. There. So they're all pretty close to each other. Alright, this is definitely a bug. There's probably something wrong in our code. So let's go ahead and try to figure out what it is. For now, let's stick it to 10, 10, 10, and 10. And let's just see what that looks like. It should look perfect because all the 6s looked perfect. So yeah, it looks like, yeah, it for slopes of 1, it works perfectly. But for slopes of anything bigger than that, it doesn't. Well, maybe. Let's go ahead and test. If offense is 15, that should just make it spike out a little more towards the top. Yep, looks like given any slope higher than 1, and it just fills the entire thing with black. This is a conundrum. Maybe it has something to do with the division. I mean, it shouldn't, but maybe it does. So let's go into ship edit screen, and here we are. So float is equal to this. Let's go ahead and make sure that these are being divided properly by adding this, by adding extra brackets, just, you know, to make sure. And then let's go ahead and actually, you know, make the, might as well just include IO stream everywhere. I know that I should probably have a dedicated, you know, error checking thing. I did include IO stream, didn't I? Yeah. I should have like a header in my otherwise engine for, like, you know, checking this sort of stuff. But I find the IO works just as well, so. Let's just copy that and just paste, paste, paste. Bottom right, top left, and top right. I'm going to call this episode Debugging What We Made Last Episode. Shipbuilder. 1100. Really? Really? 1100. It's a float. It's a float. Oh wait, let's put that back. Okay, so I must be doing something wrong here. So let's, let's get some temporary integers. Let's actually call them, actually, I wonder if static cast float, I wonder if that works in this case. If we just cast all these integers to floats, and then make sure all of them are properly inside their boxes. There we go. Let's rebuild that and see how it works. Oh, look! It looks like we have a... Oh! Neat! I mean, there's a layer of white over top that I don't really like, but I mean, it wouldn't actually impede the progress. But yeah, look! That's a nice little thing. Now let's try it with something weird. Like 15... Let's go 40, let's go 65, not 650, 65, and 6. rebuild, and play. Alright, let's see what we have here. Perfect. That, my friends, is a wonderful looking thing. Just, draw straight lines in there. I guess the lines will probably be like, I don't know, blue or something. Because the background isn't going to be blue, it's going to be like teal because, this is sand skiff. And, yeah. And then all these numbers are what we're at. So, yeah. Nice, wide top and, got a lot of defense. Can see a very long ways. Got a fair bit of attack, but not that much. And this is going to be a little slowpoke. I mean, we obviously want to get rid of this. We want to, have it... We want to have this so that the tiles actually conform to, this left side of the screen. Well, stay in the left side of the screen. Maybe the upper left, it will still be stretched and stuff, but, it'll be smaller. And then we'll have, our GUI here to do stuff. And then, I don't know, maybe down here, something or other. Since I'm not going to be doing the multiple viewport thing, since I don't want to take the time to learn it, just for such a small thing that I can do with separate screens. So that was a little bit of bug fixing. And now for the rest of it, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to set it up so that this, where it's printed, is in the top left corner of the screen. And squishes to that area. So if grid data is super big, if this size or this size is particularly big, it will reflect in how thick the tile width is. I'll make tile width dependent on these sizes, and that will squash it. And then I'll make X and Y into rather than just have it be these, I'll have it so that they're in the top left somehow. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. I think I'd probably this, the desk direct, this tells it where it's supposed to be. Then I'll just put this in brackets, and then I'll subtract the whole thing pretty much, because this goes from 0, 0, and I want it to actually just X. I just have to move it left pretty much the entirety of this. So really, all I have to do that is go in here. Oh, wait. I can probably just use bed mass. And yes, it's bed mass, not ped mass, because I'm a Canadian. And then minus X times... No, because that might flip it. If I subtract X times the tile width, because X is going to be going up as we go forward. So I wanted to start at the highest and then go down from there. So I want it to be I want it to start at the far end and then go up. I think I did a similar thing up here. So how we'll do this is we will simply subtract this mgriddata.size times tile width. That way it will be shifted left the entire grid, and then we don't need to shift it down the entire grid. So let's just go ahead and compile and run this. Turns out that didn't work. We're printing things off that way, but I don't know if we're if we're displaying them. Interesting. Maybe if we stuck these in brackets, just, to be on the safe side. Nope, nope. It's still like that. Interesting. Perhaps we can't show stuff in that area? I'm not sure. I mean, we can because we can move the camera. Maybe that's a better idea, just having the camera off to the left. So I just tried this little experiment where I just multiplied the position by -1, which would have flipped it on the x-axis, and as you can see, when I pop it up here, it won't draw in the negative space here. And yeah, that's very interesting. I guess I'm going to have to set it so that my camera position is just to the right enough in order to put the square there. Which is fine, because, I mean, I already made a thing that moves around the camera's position. Well, I mean, you can just set the camera position. So if I just, what is this? This is prepare grid, which is way down here at the bottom, prepare grid. The camera's already been set up. So I can call in prepare grid. I can go ahead and m camera dot set position. Oh, it's a vec2. So let's say it's vec2 camera pause, and let's set it up as let's set it up at grid width and 0.0f. Let's go ahead and static cast it to a float, just so that we're not passing an integer into something that expects a floating point value. I know that it should be completely fine to do that, but better to do things in such a way that the compiler doesn't constantly give you warnings. Alright, so here we are, and it didn't do it. It didn't set the camera there. Weird. Yeah, it should have set the camera so that 0 was here. Yeah, we should have had to go left for it. Whatever. I'm sure we can find another way. Maybe all we have to do is put the camera function up here underneath init UI. Also, we don't need to we don't really need to do this, so let's remove this, as the player does not need to control the camera in this screen. We'll leave camera control now, just so that we can move the camera around in case we mess up and need to look around. Let's take this away. And let's go ahead and put this in the, not in the update, in here underneath init UI, just to see if that changes anything. Oh, grid width. Oh yeah, the position grid width. Actually, it really only needs to be, we pretty much just need to move to the left 1.0f. We don't need to static cast that to a float. So there we go. And then let's just build that and run it. Still nothing, huh? Well, this is interesting. Maybe if we stick it in the update function. Popping this in the update function. Oh, wait a minute. Since we attached the camera to the player, we don't set the camera's position, we set the player's position. Player dot we need to go ahead and stick a setter in the player object, player input.cpp, not cpp, the .h file. So used to having my .h files and my .cpp files all in the same area. Player input, void, set pause, glm vec2 new pause, position equal to new pause. There we are. Now pop into the ship editor screen, new player dot set pause, and then go ahead and tell it we want to be at 1.0f 0.0f. Maybe stick that in a that. No. Vec2. Awesome. So let's see how that works. Houston, we have liftoff. It's probably a bit difficult to see, but I've been looking at this frickin' screen so much that you can tell that the left corner doesn't line up with the middle here, meaning we have moved over 1. So if we just go ahead and pop this over into here, into prepare grid, which I'll note is called after mPlayer is initialized. I guess it's initialized in the in the declaration. And stick over here and prepare grid. Boop, and just replace this with that. Static cast it to a float for safety reasons. And rebuild it and hit play. I won't make you guys watch that. And we have success. It is now in the upper left hand portion of the screen. Zoom out a little bit. There it is. Now we just need to scrunch it so that it actually fits in the upper left-hand corner of the screen by making the tile height and the tile width. Well, actually, I should probably keep them squares. So I'll probably make it so that there's only tile width, and then set it so that I think there is only tile width if we look. Grid height and grid width. I think there's only one. Where is it? I think it's down here. Yeah. There's just tile width. By making tile width conform to whatever the longest thing is. And my alarm just went off. So that means I need to go. But this video... Actually, this video is over. Because... I'm going to head off to work, and you guys have just seen me struggle through this, so I guess in the next video is when we'll tackle constraining the tile width to whichever the longest side is. Anyways, this has been Earth.Otherwise. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.